So we're going to try this again tonight, folks. We had a lot of interruption yesterday. I'm going to wait a minute for this to load completely, since we had major interruption yesterday trying to do our live stream. So we're hoping that this is going to work out okay, and it looks like it is. So here we go. Welcome to the GoldFish Report, everyone. I'm your host, Louisa. Today is, let's see, today is actually Saturday, February 1st. I can't believe we're already in February. We just had New Year's. We're going to try this again tonight. Last night we had a lot of interruption with the computers. I've had, my systems checked today, and it just seems to be, um, a very local issue somehow. So we'll figure that out. Um, so anyway, I want to welcome you all. Tonight we're going to, for those who are listening on Ascension Radio, tonight we're going to be doing the first part. I'm going to be live with everybody on simulcast on Ascension Radio. Uh, so the first part, I'm going to do the POTUS report first, and then we're going to, we had to reschedule our interview, our live stream Q&A with Duncan O'Finian tonight. And we will reschedule that, and we will let everybody know. Well, I'm not sure that we're going to actually pre-announce this anymore, because we are definitely having problems with announcements. Right, we're having problems with when we pre-announce the live streams. We do have interference. It just happens that way. So, but what we have in the second hour on Ascension Radio, we are simulcasting on Ascension Radio tonight, will be a pre-recorded, will be from our archive. It will be an interview with Duncan O'Finian from our archive very long time ago. Not that long. Well, it was within our first 100 reports. So I pulled that from the archive for everyone to enjoy. So it's good to have a little bit of background as to who Duncan is. So what we're going to do, so I wanted to make that announcement up front. I also wanted to announce for those people who are listening on Ascension Radio that Audrey Ewis, who is running Ascension Radio, has been dealing with some health challenges and has been in the hospital for repeated surgeries. And I wanted to let everybody know, so you can send your well wishes to Audrey at Ascension Radio, and any kind of support that you can help him with as well. It's been a very long, arduous process for Audrey. He's been having many surgeries to deal with the health issue that he has, and I think he's in good spirits. I think he's doing well, and I wanted to let you all know. Okay, I wanted to let everybody know. For those of you who are just tuning in, we are going to welcome to the GoldFish Report, and we're going to be doing the POTUS report tonight that we were not able to do last night. So there's been a change in the schedule for our live stream tonight. We were planning on doing the interview, the live stream Q&A with Duncan O'Finian, but we had to reschedule that. So tonight, for the first hour, if you're listening on Ascension Radio, it's going to be the POTUS report for this week. And for the second hour will be an archived interview with Duncan O'Finian. So you can get some background information on Duncan, and then you can be a little bit more better prepared for the live stream when we do reschedule that. So I wanted to make those announcements up front. Also, for those of you who wish to help support the GoldFish Report, you can become a Patreon at our Patreon page. That's on thegoldfishreport.com. And it's the GoldFish Report. So don't forget the, because there's only one, and you know it. So you can go there, you can become a Patreon, and you can also go to the front page of the website actually, and donate at PayPal there. Or you can participate by you can also help support the channel by participating in the live stream Q&As, because those do benefit both the guest and the channel, and it's a win-win for everybody. So hi everybody. Yeah, please send your well wishes to Audrey. Send, donations if you can, because he's been in the hospital for, I mean, we're going on almost a month now with multiple surgeries he's had to correct some medical issues that he's had to deal with. And I know that he's in good spirits, and I want everybody to please send him some love and send him some prayers and some well wishes. And a few donations couldn't hurt. So help to keep the channel going on Ascension Radio. So I'm going to be screen sharing some videos tonight, and also, of course, our blog, because our blog is our main place that we go to publish all of the president's press releases regarding the work that he's doing. Our viewers on Ascension Radio are not going to be able to join us or view that with us, but you'll be able to listen along. So we appreciate your attending. So we're going to get started. Yesterday there was a confirmed report of shots fired at Mar-a-Lago in Florida. Ahead of the president's arrival, there were several individuals in custody for breaching security around Mar-a-Lago ahead of the arrival of POTUS, FLOTUS, and their family. There's no problem with them. I mean, it was all cleared by the time they arrived there last evening. So it was, yeah. It was, they were safe and secure. So anyway, let's move along. I think that everybody, knows that, I think everyone's pretty tired of this fake impeachment hoax. And I have to tell you, the title of this report is, "If It Doesn't Fit, You Must Acquit." We have heard that before, haven't we? Because the claims that the Democrats are making do not fit the definition for impeachment. There's no crimes, there's no wrongdoing of any kind whatsoever. And it's really hard for people to get their mind around this. So I'm going to start out with a video clip that I'd like to share with everybody. And I just want, this really sums it up. This is Mark Levin at Fox, and he really sums it up really well in terms of this whole impeachment hoax. So I'm going to screen share this for everybody, and I want everyone to listen really carefully. Okay. I want everyone to listen really carefully. I know you don't really need to see the video, but I'm going to screen share this. So let me get this on my screen. Computer sound, and here we go.
Now, they did have some witnesses over there in the House Intelligence Committee, the House Judiciary Committee. Not really. A couple law professors, a couple lawyers who'd served on the House Intelligence Committee. That was the extent of their investigation. But let's take a look. Let's look at what the individuals who Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, by the way, almost all of whom are hearsay witnesses, first-hand witnesses to nothing. But what did they have to say about impeachment and high crimes and all the rest of it? Take a look. Go.
Either of you ever have any evidence of quid pro quo? Mr. Morrison?
No, ma'am.
And Master Volker?
I did not.
Any evidence of bribery?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Not that I can recall. No, they did not.
He said, I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo.
You testified that you had no direct knowledge of any nefarious motivations to withhold aid to Ukraine, correct?
Correct.
And to your knowledge, you testified that there were no strings attached to the aid, correct? That's page 184 of your deposition.
Yeah, no such knowledge.
In this impeachment hearing today, where we impeach presidents for treason or bribery or other high crimes, where is the impeachable offense in that call? Are either of you here today to assert there was an impeachable offense in that call? Shout it out. Anyone?
Do you have any information regarding the President of the United States accepting any bribes?
No.
Do you have any information regarding any criminal activity that the President of the United States has been involved with at all?
No.
That was 1 minute, 10 seconds. Now, you won't see any of that video. Not on the Democrat side. House managers didn't play. That was 1 minute and 10 seconds. I don't need 24 hours. I don't need 3 days. Case closed. Case closed. What are these other witnesses going to tell them? Now, the president of Ukraine says, I wasn't pressured. We heard on and on and on, they're droning on. There was a pressure campaign, ladies and gentlemen. The CIA sitting on documents. The NSA sitting on, we had all these documents we can't get our hands on. Where's the document, the smoking gun document that the president committed an impeachable offense? Where is it? It doesn't exist. Where's the killer witness? The killer witness, the first-hand witness in the House of Representatives. He or she doesn't exist. They don't exist. There's nothing. That's why it takes 24 hours and 3 days to keep cobbling things together like good demagogues and propagandists. But let's be honest, folks. What's really going on here? We were told about this November 17, 2016. In the New York Times, Trump's foreign business ties may violate the Constitution, the Emoluments Clause.
Over the years, I developed an investing strategy
that... That's okay. I wanted to stop there anyway. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that you have those, that is a very telling clip that sums up the whole thing. There's no impeachable offense. This is this is political theater. This is a dog and pony show. This is an excuse to delay, and to try to defame the president, to try to tarnish his reputation leading up to an election. This is unconscionable. And of course, the Democrats have said in their own words that it's simply a political tool, because this impeachment is about a policy difference. It's about a policy dispute. It is not about law. It is not about high crimes. It's not about treason. It's not about any of that. It's about a policy difference. And you can't impeach a president because you don't like his policy. This is how desperate it has become. And there's a few more clips that I'm going to screen share. Hi, everybody. How you doing? I'm sorry. I know everybody's live in the chat. I wanted to just say hello. But because when I'm on live, it's very hard for me to try to do all the chats when I'm screen sharing, because I actually can't see it. So I'm going to go to the blog and I'm going to screen share with everybody what's going on. This is a review. Our POTUS reports, as everybody knows, is a review of the prior week. So what happened today is not going to be reported in this report. There's a lot to talk about, and I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because there's just way too much to talk about. But I do want to direct you over to our blog. I would like to direct you over to, hold on one second. I just have to check my my headset. Yeah, you guys should be able to hear me okay. Here we have our blog. This is the GoldFish Report blog. And this is where, as you all know, where we post primarily the press releases from the White House. You know that I do have White House press privileges, and that I do get the press pooler reports. And I do hope to raise funds again to return to the White House and report from the White House again. There's transcripts in these posts that I'm going to be sharing with you. And I can tell you that once you start reading through them and you see the media, the fake news media, questioning the administration officials, it's really like, it's like a bully. It's just, they want to push a narrative. It's very clear. It's very clear, and it's very annoying to read through it, because they have a lot of patience. I can tell you the administration officials have a lot of patience. We're talking about the press deputy, Gidley, and also there's other administration officials there, discussing the president's attorney's responses to the impeachment. So I'm not going to go into great detail. It's kind of, there's a lot of information here. So let's talk about this. This is the 5 stories the president doesn't want you to miss. And of course, this is his legal team laying out the impeachment, the defense against impeachment. It came down to rhetoric, guns blazing Saturday, accusing the House Democrats' impeachment managers of hiding evidence from the senators. We are going to confront them on the merits of their argument. And that's what they did. And I have to tell you that his attorneys did an excellent job. I really have to say that it couldn't have been a hard job, because when you don't have, when it doesn't fit, you must acquit. That's why this is the title of this report, because it doesn't fit. There's nothing that the president did that fits an impeachment. So it's going to be interesting to see how the administration handles this afterwards. It says that the impeachment trial gets lower ratings than Jeopardy on a bad night. It's people, I think, are getting very tired of this attack on the president, because if you look at the president's turnout at his rallies, it doesn't look like he's in jeopardy of losing the election. In fact, I have a feeling, folks, that the polls that are out are a bunch of hogwash, and I don't really think that they, mean much at all. And you have to kind of consider the source too. They're very liberal. Some of the Monmouth polls, very liberal university. So, they have their agenda that they want to push. And I do question the authenticity, the validity of those polls. So we have also Trump sets new standard for pro-life presidents in address to March for Life. He was there and he did make an address, during there. You can come here. We will defend the rights of every child, born and unborn. And I have come across, and I know this president means this. And I'm going to show you, and I'm going to show you the evidence of this firsthand. I think I went right past it. You have to see this video of our president when this is just the most beautiful video. I know our friends on Ascension Radio I can't see this. This is our Twitter page, and I have to show this too. This is when Melania first had Barron, and he must just be, a month or 2 months old here. And look at this president, then just citizen, just continuously kissing his child. He loves his son. He loves his children, and he has many, right? Several. And it's just something you just love to see.
This is his television debut.
Oh, no, he's adorable.
He is beautiful.
How does that feel to you?
Feels great.
Does it?
See the little delicate hands? Everything's so delicate.
I see. So, Daniel, you're not opposed to changing diapers. You just haven't had to do it. But you know how to do it.
I would be able to do it, yes.
Yeah.
No, you always stop crying. You always stop crying.
He was mama. But it's a very, he's really a very loving person and a loving father. And that's what's really behind, that's why he went. That's how important it is to him. So, that's a wonderful, wonderful expression, and that he's very sincere. So let's move along, because we have a lot to cover, and we only have 1 hour, because the second hour, as I announced earlier, in case you came in a little bit late, the second hour of our broadcast tonight on Ascension Radio is not on YouTube, but on Ascension Radio. You can continue this for all of our YouTube followers. You can continue this over on Ascension Radio at. I'll actually I'll type the link in the chat box in just a moment, so that everybody can follow along. But the second hour will be an archived interview with Duncan O'Finian, and you can get a good idea as to what he's about, and what maybe you can expect when we do reschedule with him. As I said earlier, we had to reschedule. We had to do the live stream POTUS report tonight and reschedule the live stream that was supposed to be for Duncan O'Finian this evening. So for anyone who's late and just arriving to the broadcast, that's why we've had this change of schedule. As I said last night, we were completely knocked off the internet with the anticipation of going live. So let's move along. So we have the World Economic Forum. We have Vice President Mike Pence met up with Pope Francis in Vienna at the Vatican rather. And let's just keep moving along, because we have a lot to talk about. Let's see. The White House photos of the week for last week. I usually do this last, but this is actually one of the first ones. The president was at the Farm Bureau, the future of agriculture. This has everything to do with the China trade deal and, of course, USMCA deal as well. President is very strong supporter of our farmers and agriculture. This is big business, billions of dollars in deals that the president is making for our farmers and to bring jobs back to the United States. Of course, here we also have Vice President Mike Pence touring the National Civil Rights Museum, and we were also honoring Martin Luther King Day last week as well. The president did issue a proclamation for National African American Month, and these are the pictures that you see. Now I'm going to go through this very quickly because we have a lot to report. So here you can see the president and the vice president here at the memorial, excuse me, in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. So it's very nice. I actually haven't seen it from this position before, this angle. And there they are at the memorial. I hope my voice holds up. It seems like it's getting a little shaky. Okay, so here's some photos of the president. This man is working long nights every day, and he's doing a great job for America. And we're very, very proud and, to have him represent us and, usher in this brave new world. We've got many changes, and I think we're going to see some really wonderful things in his second term, because he had so much draining the swamp to do in this first term that this is him at Davos, flying over the Swiss Alps in Davos, Switzerland, the World Economic Forum there. He's done so much to drain the swamp in his first term, and he's even accomplished a great deal despite this adversity that he's had to face every single day he's been in office. And he's still making the deals. He's still doing what's great for the country, and he's not letting this adversity and all these games hold him back. So let me just scroll back up. You can go to our blog, like I said, and you can check out the photos of the week, all of them for yourself. This is the one that I said, Mr. Gidley, this is the one that I said, was really kind of, this is the fake news, and this is what they do, and you can come here and read it. I'm not going to read it all. We already talked about this a little bit, so I'm going to move along. Here you have the president. There's more of this as well. So now we're going to move on to the next day. So for Monday, 3 things that Democrats can't change, and that is the House Democrats have tried almost everything at this point. They've left no stone unturned in their effort to, as impeachment manager Representative Adam Schiff put it, send that charlatan in the White House back to the golden throne he came from. How ridiculous. That promise came during his supposedly impartial impeachment probe, by the way. Not impartial at all. It is completely partisan. It is completely down the line. It is not supported because there's no there's no high crimes or misdemeanors of any kind. It's amazing. It's like this hate is driving them. What you have on one side with the Democrats is you have hatriots. They just want to push hate. And on President Trump's side, you have patriots. These are people who love our country, who love what America stands for, who know, veterans and military people who put their life on the line to protect our country. And the president has done a great job for veterans. He's done an excellent job for making sure that veterans have the freedom to go to any hospital they want and have their medical treatment. They can choose their doctors and not be stuck within the VA system. And I know that the president's been in great support. I think there's still some problems within the VA system, and I think that's why, he's allowed this to happen. I haven't heard any complaints from anybody about that. That's interesting. So you can go through this. You can look at this. You can look at all the issues that the president's talking about right here. So what we have, let's move along. We have a statement from the press secretary on Supreme Court victory. And so what this is talking about is the win for American taxpayers and the American Constitution. This decision allows the government to implement regulations affecting longstanding federal law that newcomers to this country must be financially self-sufficient and not a public charge on our country and its citizens. 2 courts of appeals had already ruled that the government should be able to implement these regulations, but one single district's judge's nationwide injunction remained. As 2 justices pointed out today, the expanding practice of district courts entering nationwide injunctions raised real problems about the proper power of a judge to decide only the case before him or her. There was a bill announcement regarding the, you can come here and take a look at it. There's a few things here that you can take a look at for yourselves. There are a couple of bills. Here we have, of course, the president met with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel this week, and the president did announce and launch his, I don't know, some people are calling it the deal of the century, but I think that's just overly hyped because I don't think the president called it that. But I will tell you what he called it, and I'm going to screen share an excerpt video regarding this from the president. I'm going to screen share that right now so you can all hear this. He says it's a better deal than anybody can expect. So let's see.
They probably won't want it initially, but I think in the end they will. I think in the end they're going to want it. It's very good for them. In fact, it's overly good to them. So we'll see what happens.
Well, Palestinians is already rejecting President Trump's Middle East peace plan, which he plans to roll out at noon Eastern time today, along with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Trey Yingst is live from the West Bank this morning. Trey.
Sandra, Ed, good morning. Less than 2 hours from now, President Trump will release his long-awaited deal of the century Middle East peace plan. Palestinian leadership here in the West Bank and also the Gaza Strip have told Fox News this week they are rejecting the deal. It was described to me by one official as, quote, dead on arrival. Palestinian leadership concerned that President Trump will expand settlements as part of this plan and also give up key parts of the West Bank. I do want you to take a look at what the scene was like earlier today here in Ramallah. What's taking place in the streets of Ramallah? Tear gas and rubber bullets being fired by the Israelis as Palestinians throw stones and light fires in the streets is just a taste of what could happen if the Trump administration's deal of the century is implemented. That according to Palestinian leadership in both the West Bank and Gaza. At the same time that the deal is released in Washington with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Trump, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas will be holding a meeting of his own here in Ramallah. He has invited both Hamas and Islamic Jihad, the 2 main factions inside the Gaza Strip. This is an unprecedented meeting, a show of unity by the Palestinians. They are expected to release a statement following that meeting.
Okay, so it looks like, you know, they're not going to be happy with it. The president just said that. He just said they're probably not going to be happy with it. I really think that the Palestinians, you know, should have, you know, they should be respected and have their own land. It was the Rothschilds who did, you know, create Israel. And I think that the Palestinians should have their land. That's just my opinion. I don't normally just really give my opinion, but I'm so tired of this. I mean, you know, since it's thousands of years they've been fighting, thousands of years. And it's like, you know, and, you know, President Trump's not shying down. At least he's trying. He's trying to make a deal. Let's see what happens. You know, I don't know what's going to happen with it. So now you know, now you know what people think about it. So let's move along. Let's move along. Okay, and there's a transcript here which you can come and read about the conversation. But I do understand that President Trump did have a conversation with Mahmoud Abbas, and who is the Palestinian president. So I'm not quite sure, you know, what the sticking points are. I know that it has to do with Jerusalem, and you know, we'll find out. We'll find out. They definitely have issues with expanding settlements, like they were reporting, and the Jordan Valley. It's like, oh my God, you know, Jim Fetzer reports on this all the time. How, you know, they are planning on the greater Israel, the greater state of Israel, they really kind of keep encroaching on other people's lands. I don't know, folks. We gotta find a way to get along on this planet. Next one is, let's see. This next one is the presidential message on International Holocaust Remembrance Day this week as well. The president remembered the millions of precious souls who perished as a result of the horrific crimes perpetrated by the Nazi regime. We also reaffirm our steadfast commitment to confronting the vile poison of anti-Semitism wherever and whenever it arises. You can go and read more of this on the blog. I'm going to just keep moving along. We have more on the president's legal team regarding impeachment, so you can come here and read this. You know, I really can't say it anymore. They laid out legally that there was no quid pro quo, there was no pressure, there was no bribes, there was nothing. So I could just keep repeating myself, but I will not. So let's see what else is going on here. We have the 1600 daily. And of course, the president laid out his bold vision for the Middle East. He says it's the most realistic and detailed plan ever presented for peace between Israel and Palestinians, as we were just talking about. Peace to prosperity is a fundamentally different vision for one of the world's most complex problems. And, they're trying to work on that, as we were just reporting. Both deserve a future of peace and prosperity. I completely agree with that. I think most people would. That's really like that's common sense. That's being a voice of reason there, right? A realistic compromise will protect Israel's security, fulfill the aspirations of self-determination for the Palestinians, and ensure universal and respectful access, sorry about that, to the holy sites in Jerusalem. And that's really a big issue. I mean, they shouldn't be blocking each other from accessing and practicing their religions. Okay, nomination sent to the Senate. So we have Commissioner of United States Parole Commission. We have Assistant Secretary of Transportation. We have more ambassadors. We have, let's see, do we have Secretary of Labor, Federal Communications Commission? So the president's filling these spots. There were so many vacancies when he came into office, and it's been taking a very long time to get himself filled in. But, the second term is going to be a breeze once he gets the right people in place, and hasn't affected his ability to continue to do his work. So come and take a look. We have Christopher Waller of Minnesota to be member of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. And quite frankly, this really needs to be out. It needs to be out, phased out, the whole Federal Reserve. I think we're all pretty tired of being hijacked by the Federal Reserve System, and we want our own U.S. Treasury note. We want our own currency, gold-backed currency, and we don't want the Federal Reserve logging us as cattle any longer and using us as surety for their debts. So let's move along. President Trump's vision for peace and prosperity. Again, there's a little bit more on this. His vision is the most serious, realistic. This vision is the first step and provides the basis for historic progress towards peace. As we were saying before, diplomatic accomplishment. President Trump is trying to bring them together, or he is bringing them together, but it doesn't look like Mahmoud Abbas was very happy about this. Mutual recognition and independence again, Israel's security, Jerusalem and holy sites, future state of Palestine. Absolutely, everybody has to get something out of this. More on the legal team, and here's some more nominations for key administration posts. This is for Tennessee. Interesting. Okay, Holocaust Memorial Museum, Security Telecommunications Committee, Advisory on Science and Technology, Performing Arts Center, things like that. Look how busy this president is. I mean, look how much I have to report in 1 week. It's amazing. It's amazing how much he gets done. It's absolutely amazing. And he doesn't get credit for it. That's what's sad. Moving along. For Wednesday, January 29th, promises kept. President Trump signs the USMCA. NAFTA is gone. NAFTA, folks, moved 60,000 factories and businesses overseas. Now, if each one of those 60,000 factories or businesses had 100 employees. That's 6 million jobs, folks. 6 million jobs that were outsourced to other countries where they were building the wealth, and America was suffering. And that was the plan of the Democrats, and that's the plan they still have. They still have this. They're still socialists, and nothing's going to change. So let's keep supporting him. You know, in terms of the USMCA improvement over NAFTA, broad economic benefits, the USMCA is estimated to create nearly 600,000 American jobs and generate up to $235 billion in economic activity. Better protection for workers, support for our farmers, a boost for American manufacturers, and modernized terms. Unlike NAFTA, USMCA has protections for American intellectual property, first of its kind chapter on digital trade, and provisions to crack down on unfair currency practices when countries manipulate currencies, like China was doing. So, so this is really good. Witch hunt never ends. We know that this is going on, and it continues to go on. So this is the photo of the day where the president is signing the USMCA trade deal. And that's a really great picture. So moving along to the next day, we have, of course, we saw Kellyanne Conway doing a press briefing with the Assistant Secretary of Public Health and Jim Carroll, the ONDCP director, in the Brady press briefing room. And this was regarding the public health, and let me see, what was this? Oh, okay, this was about opioids, and this was about stopping China from sending the synthetic opioids, which is fentanyl, and trying to keep that from entering our country through the borders, through the ports. And that's what this whole press conference is about. You can go to the goldfishreport.blogspot.com and you can read the entire transcript. It's quite long, so you can take a look at that. In West Wing Reads, okay, we're continuing to talk about the USMCA. It's not just the biggest deal ever, it's an international game changer. Again, when you have so he says here, the deal is an unequivocal win for America and will help Canada and Mexico over the long run. It puts an end to unfair Canadian tariffs that amounted to nearly 300% in some cases, thus creating a level playing field for American farmers and ranchers. Exactly, you know, the tariffs, it's almost like the two ways to kill economy is through manipulating currencies and through the tariffs too. I mean, so you have to really use them sparingly because they do have a huge impact. But you know, if you're going to put tariffs on our exports, then we need to put tariffs on your imports. I mean, it's just how it works. So, you know, that's part of the deal. That's part of the China deal that the president was able to relax those tariffs, some of those tariffs with China. And he did not remove them all from what I remember. He didn't remove them all. I think it was from 25% down to 15 or something like that. But I'll have to double check that. Again, the president, the press secretary put out a statement regarding the coronavirus task force. So they are monitoring this very carefully. They've been meeting on a daily basis, and the task force is leading the United States government response to the novel 2019 coronavirus, and they are keeping the president apprised of developments. So Alex Azar, who is the Secretary of Health and Human Services, is leading the task force, and so it's going to keep the president on top of this. And you know, we'll wait and see what happens. I think they have been stopping. They have been monitoring flights, but I know they haven't stopped flights, from what I understand. You know, again, I haven't been there on the ground, so it's not confirmed. But I know that China was trying to limit the flights out because, of course, it would spread. But there are confirmed cases already in Arizona, in Washington State, and a few other places as well. So we should all be careful, folks. Be really careful. And so finally, we have from yesterday the press briefing again on the coronavirus task force. Come to the Goldfish Report thegoldfishreport.blogspot.com, and you can take a look at all they had to say about that. We also have the proclamation, as I said, on National African American History Month. So you can come and read this. Through bravery, perseverance, faith, and resolve, often in the face of incredible prejudice and hardship, African Americans have enhanced and advanced every aspect of American life. Their fight for equality, representation, and respect motivate us to continue working for a more promising, peaceful, and hopeful future for every American. So it's really lovely that he pays homage to this. He doesn't miss a beat, the president, you know? He really, really doesn't. He doesn't miss any. He doesn't really seem to miss anything. It's so amazing to like study him from a policy perspective. He just doesn't miss anything. It's amazing. And yes, he has a team of people that help him, but still, it's getting done, and he's getting promises made, promises kept, right? So we have another text of a letter from the president to the chairman of the House Committees on Armed Services, Foreign Affairs. All this, you can come and read that for yourself. It's just regarding a change to the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2018. As amended, I'm transmitting notice on a change made to the legal policy framework guiding the United States' use of military force and related national security options. I would really like to know the details of that, but as you can see, it's not provided. So here we have West Wing Reads for Friday, January 31st. Crying Wolf on impeachment, which is exactly what we showed in that video when we started out, the Mark Levin video. This is exactly what's been going on. Will Democrats, by crying wolf, drown out the more legitimate Republican cry of foul? Foul has served as the GOP's most powerful and honest argument from the first days of these impeachment maneuverings, according to the Wall Street Journal. So Democrats broke every standard of due process, transparency, and fairness in their House investigation, making a mockery of their constitutional duty. In fact, folks, you know, what these people have done is violated their oaths of office because they're supposed to defend the Constitution. And they are not supporting the Constitution but by the actions that they're taking. So, you know, they're violating the president's own due process rights and barring his team from having access to certain depositions and testimony, having secret depositions, barring more than 3/4 of House members, as well as the press and the American public, because there's nothing there. That's why what they're hiding is nothing. There's nothing there. They called 18 witnesses, but blocked the president from calling any in his defense. And I'm going to tell you, folks, you know, this is outrageous. It's outrageous because without confidence in our judiciary, without confidence in our legal system, we really have anarchy. We just don't have faith or trust in our judiciary. The laws are there. They're not being enforced. And there needs to be oversight and there needs to be accountability. And we don't only see this in levels of the Senate committee. Well, not the Senate committee, so it's the House, actually, the crazy House, they call it. Or they call it the nut. No, they call it the crazy House. I think they call it the nut House too. But House of Representatives tends to be a little bit more, you know, far out there. So anyway, yeah. So the Democrats approved 2 articles of impeachment that failed to identify a crime. This is fraud, to be honest with you. They knew they had no evidence, and this is defamation. And I just can't wait to see how the president's going to handle this in terms of whether there's going to be legal. There's going to be referrals for legal investigations into these actions. There's going to be a lot of, you know, unsavory news coming soon regarding these characters who have been in control of this impeachment process. And they're stalling right now because they know they are trying to diminish the president's credibility. They're trying to diminish the process. They're trying to destroy the Constitution. They're trying to say that the Constitution, that the intention of our forefathers means nothing. that we can change this if we don't like it. And quite honestly, if they want socialism, there's plenty of other countries they can go to if they don't like it here. But I think most Americans want to preserve the freedoms that are in our Declaration of Independence, that these truths are to be held, that unalienable rights. You cannot put a lien against things that are God given to us. You cannot withhold. And of course, that's how I look at the word, not unalienable, because nobody knows what that word means. But when you say unalienable, it makes a lot more sense, because it means that you cannot put a lien. You cannot take something of someone of someone else's property. You cannot take it and hold it without due process, at least. So this is what we're talking about. President proposes a $42 million budget increase in February to expand support for victims of human trafficking. Folks, this was another big one to this week. The president, of course, that wasn't really as much last week, but the president did sign another executive order. This is the second executive order regarding human trafficking. And you know where this is going. That's why we have the wall, because of all the trafficking. And we're talking not just, human trafficking, not just adults. We're talking child trafficking. We're talking things that nobody really wants to look at. Nobody really wants to admit's happening. Nobody really wants to think people are going to do such heinous and horrific things to children. And they're doing it every single day. Every day. And this is going to come out, and it's going to be very hard for, I think, a lot of people to accept that they were distracted, let's say, so that they didn't pay attention, they didn't notice what was happening around them. So we have, of course, as I was saying, to boost investigations and prosecutions for victims of human trafficking. The funding is part of a push by Ivanka Trump to bring more attention to the illegal trade. Can you imagine trading humans? Like, are we really there in the year 2020? Are we really still? Yes, sadly, we still are. Excuse me. And we're just going to finish up. Sorry, I needed to take a sip. Let me just check on my, oh my God, hi everybody. I really wish that I could have, sorry for coughing into the mic. I wish I could see more of you guys over here. I'm going to stop for just 1 minute, and I'm going to put, before we change over, for people who have tuned in a little bit late, we had to reschedule the Duncan O'Finian live stream Q&A tonight because we had, excuse me, yesterday I had complete internet failure, and I could not get my POTUS report out. So you're gonna have to just wait 1 second. It's so dry in this winter time right now. My throat's getting a little dry. Okay, so what we're doing tonight is the first hour is the live stream POTUS report, which we're just about getting ready to wrap up. And the second hour will be from our archive. It's going to be an interview with Duncan O'Finian from our archives, which you will also enjoy. And it'll give you a little bit more information and background on Duncan, so that when we do reschedule the live stream, you'll be hopefully you'll be there. And one of the things I wanted to talk about with Duncan, I'll get into in a minute. But if you have ever had anybody who bought a house that someone had died in, the chances are that that person's energy is still there. There's a good chance of it, especially if it was not like a normal passing. If it was like a passing that was a violent one or of another nature, they hang around sometimes because they, are connected there. Usually if it's not from natural causes, there's some trauma involved, and it's very hard for people to move on spiritually, their souls. And Duncan is the kind of person who can help clear that and bring rest and peace back to your home. And I can't wait to have him on, because he's got so many stories to tell you. And if you ever had any kind of paranormal or supernormal kind of supernatural kind of event happen in your home, he's definitely the person to call. Ghostbusters. He's like a Ghostbuster, but he's more than that. He's a super soldier, and he's all these other wonderful things. He's a wizard, and he knows how to do so many other things. So I'm going to thank you, Adam. Yeah, I'm glad you made it to the live stream as well. Before I switch this over, I'm going to finish again this USMCA celebration. We won't forget about that. Take a look at thegoldfishreport.blogspot.com, and you will get the transcripts there, the full transcripts right from the press secretary's office. Okay, and again, we're talking about the president was in Michigan, part of NAFTA. He's celebrating the end of NAFTA when he was visiting with auto workers in Michigan, because it took their jobs. I mean, Michigan was Detroit. It was turning to a ghost town. I mean, so many jobs were lost because of NAFTA. And don't think for a minute the UN's not part of this. Don't think for a minute, they're not serving us. They're serving themselves. They're serving their own agenda. They're not doing what's best for us. And we the people, folks, we the people have to be part of the process. We get so busy, we get tied up in our own lives, we get distracted. But, a long time ago, the man of the house would always go down to the town hall, and he would listen to the business of the town, regarding deeds, regarding property, regarding issues of disputes or whatever. And they would always do that in the 1800s. And life got more complicated, and I think this was definitely by design as well. But life got so much more complicated that people, little by little, stopped following. And of course, with all the corruption that politicians are so famous for, it just, people kind of gave up and just tried their best to live their life, as NAFTA was taking jobs out of the United States and creating. Well, let's look at San Francisco. Come on. What's going on in San Francisco? Why are there all these drugs on the street? Why can't we clean this up? And and I think President Trump's trying to do that. Let's move along to talking about this executive order regarding e-commerce, ensuring safe and lawful e-commerce for United States consumers, business, government, supply chains, and intellectual property rights holders. And, this is very much, these are the issues that were important for these trade deals that the president's been making. And so, promises made, promises kept. The president's very, very, adamant about intellectual property and keeping in protecting that within the United States, so that it's not copied, duplicated, and and then people, the original, it's like bootlegging anything. Okay, the original person or manufacturer, artist, or creator is going to lose out on those sales. And when they lose out on sales, and they have to cut jobs because they have to, there's not as much money to pay everybody. So here we go. Statement from the press secretary: defending American lives and safety is the president's highest duty. Pursuant to Presidential Proclamation 9645, the acting Secretary of Homeland Security submitted to the president a report drafted in consultation with the Secretary of State, the Attorney General, and the Director of National Intelligence on global compliance with standards establishing for the screening and vetting of foreign nationals seeking to come into the United States, as set forth in the Presidential Proclamation. Countries that fail to conduct proper identity management protocols and procedures, or that fail to provide information necessary to comply with basic national security requirements, including sharing terrorist, criminal, or other identity information, face the risk of restrictions and limitations on the entry of their nationals into the United States. So they're getting very, very taking a hard line on making sure we don't have these anchor babies coming into the United States as well. Go to the GoldFish Report blog and look up this a little bit more. They're talking about the visa lotteries and all these other things. Here we have the proclamation regarding, this is a little bit more on that, regarding the entry into the United States by terrorists or other public safety threats. So you don't want them coming in either. I mean, we have to protect our country. And so we can't let everybody in. We don't want to let the terrorists in, for goodness sake. So there has to be, and again, the president is tackling this issue regardless of what's going on in the House of Representatives, no matter what the Democrats have been throwing at this president, no matter what impeachment hoax, Russian hoax, fake dossier. I mean, it's been one thing after the next against this president, but he's an amazing, he's a very smart man, very high IQ, and he knows how to make a deal. And that's what he's doing. And he's getting this all done. So I think we have pretty much covered most of the reports for the president, most of the press releases. What is this other one? Yeah. Okay, there's more. This is about landmines and things like that. You can go to the blog and take a look at this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay on online. I'm going to stay on Facebook for a little while with my viewers who I haven't been able to interact with. She was there for 3 months and oh my God. Hi, Sherry. Oh my God. Sherry's telling a really strange story. How could she be liquefied? That's weird. So folks, in our last 5 minutes, I want to thank you all for joining us. I want to just remind everybody that the next hour on Ascension Radio will be the archived report with Duncan O'Finian. It will not be the live stream Q&A tonight. We had to make a schedule change, and I'm going to put the URL in the chat right here for HTTPS. Oh, I forgot the colons. Hold on a second. Colon backslash. Oh, that's not a backslash. radio.mpaq.org. And you can go there and you can follow the second hour on radio, Ascension Radio, with that interview if you'd like. And I will stay on a few more minutes. I will stay on a few more minutes longer. Tony, I'm sorry I skipped over your comments, but I have been screen sharing and it blocks all of the chat that's going on in there. Let's see. When are they going to release the RV? Well, that's the $100,000 question, isn't it? And if we were to, know that and announce that, then that would be sabotaged, wouldn't it? You can guarantee that it would be sabotaged. But folks, I'm hoping and praying, like everyone else, that we are going to have good things coming for, especially the second term. And I know we already have a U.S. Treasury note, so that's on the back screens of the Forex markets. So I do have people who can confirm that, who I know, some of my sources, and I do want to thank I want to make sure I thank all the viewers who are Patreons and who have been there and have been steadfast supporting the GoldFish Report. I want to thank all of the people who donate. Even the smallest amounts have been so helpful. Microfunding is one of the ways to keep the channels going. Every little bit helps. And I just wanted to make sure that I want you all to know how very much I appreciate you. And like I said, and no matter what size amount it is, because it all adds up and it does help. And we can't keep continuing doing these reports. We are independent journalists. We are trying to break through the hypocrisy and the fake news and the agenda, the massive mockingbird media that has controlled our information, controlled the information and the narrative. And of course, I also want to announce that, of course, Facebook blocked us. They banned us for 3 months. No reason given. No recourse. Who knows why, right? Zero Hedge was suspended. Zero Hedge's account was suspended on Twitter yesterday. The day before that, GoldFish Report Facebook page was blocked for posting to our groups for 3 months. And of course, no reason given, no recourse. There's no way to appeal this. It's amazing, folks. But I want to tell you how much I appreciate all of you. I'm so glad you all came by. And I wasn't able to to announce this in advance. I had to change the schedule. Folks, I don't think we're going to be able to announce live streams anymore because we do tend to have interference when that happens, especially when we do certain live stream interviews. So, yeah, I'm sorry for that. There's not much I can do about it. But I want to thank everybody for being with us. And we'll be back on Monday with another political theater report with, of course, the most dangerous mind in America, Jim Fetzer. And we're going to keep on keeping on. That's what we're going to do at the GoldFish Report for as long as we can. We are, facing a lot of struggles, folks. We really, really are. And it's, there's a war going on out there, a war for your mind, a war for your soul, in fact. So we are all in this together, and only together can we pull out of this. So I want to thank everybody. Yeah, that's what happened to Zero Hedge. That's what happened. They were suspended from Twitter. Yeah. Hey, we're not the only ones. And I have to also tell you that Tyler from Secure Team 10. Oh boy, this poor man. You guys need to try to support Tyler and give him some help too, because they've set up he's received threats. I received threats as well. I received threats to take down my website, or they would come and murder me and my children. I was threatened. I have reported this, of course, to obviously deaf ears because they're not following through with it. But Tyler had these kinds of threats as well, threatening to take their site down, threatening to take all their videos down, which was identical to the threats I was receiving. Point to note, FBI, okay? And then they arrested him, put him in fake charges, tried to say that his wife was claiming he was abusing her, and she clearly said he wasn't. So there's powers that be, folks. It's so dangerous what we do. I hope you all realize the risks that we take every day, and it's getting tough. It really is. But we're going to do the best we can. We want to thank all of you for being here, for joining us, and exactly, my original YouTube channel was suspended and poof, vanished into thin air, never to be restored. So it's 9:01, folks, on the East Coast, and what time is it? 5 p.m. No, it's 6 p.m. I'm sorry, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Sorry, it's a little late. It's been a really rough week for me, let me tell you. Whew. Major week. So thank you so much for joining us, folks. And if you want to listen to the Duncan O'Finian interview from our archive, you can go over to radioimpact.org. I'm going to put that right in our chat again, so everybody can follow over there. And again, I want to extend our make sure you send some well wishes to Audrey Ewis over at Ascension Radio, because he's been dealing with some medical issues. Yeah, well, it's 6 p.m. on the Pacific time. It's 9 p.m. Eastern time. So right now it is starting on Ascension Radio. So I wanted to just remind everybody to please show some support to Audrey Ewis, who could really use it right now. He's been going through numerous surgical procedures, and he's been going through a lot on the medical issues. So hopefully send your prayers to him, and maybe a few bucks to help keep that channel going. And that's it for tonight. So I really want to thank you all for being here and for joining me. And I will be back next week. Or actually, it's only Saturday. So I'll be back next weekend for another POTUS report, and I hope you'll all join me. And I want to hope you all have a great weekend this weekend. Tomorrow's Super Bowl Sunday. And also, don't forget, the State of the Union address is this Tuesday night at 9 p.m., February 4th. State of the Union. Don't miss it. This concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report. Thanks for viewing.